We've completed the AFN and SGR, but let's do a more detailed method of financial planning because we've made some very broad assumptions, like everything stays put. The margin stays put, the balance sheet relationship stay put, but what if they don't? So we need a more robust model to do that type of financial planning. The process we're going to illustrate has 3 steps. The first is let's forecast the financial statements using some different alternative plans and assumptions that come from that. Second, let's move to free cash flows in order to have a measure we can then use to estimate the stock price. Then finally, let's look at what that means in terms of financing. Do we have adequate financing? Yes or no, in a more precise way than using the AFN formula. The steps are, let's start with operating items and their sales, costs, and some inventory items. Then let's set a preliminary financial policy. These might be, if we need money, we'll borrow it, or if we need money, we'll sell stock, things like that. And finally, have what are some of our policies if we have a shortage or a deficit. We already talked about if we're short, we have to borrow money or do some other actions. But what if we have extra money? Do we buy back stock? Do we pay dividends? Do we refinance debt? So these are the decisions that are part of the steps that we have before we jump in to Excel. Then the last is to then iterate until everything works out. In other words, that we can pay our own bills. And that's what we're going to do. But we'll take it one bite, perhaps a big bite, but one bite at a time. The first is to forecast the operating items. We start with the actual information, and then we have assumptions, and then we then forecast those items into the future. The time horizon we're going to use is 5 years. We're going to also start with a scenario of no change. No change means we had a results in 2017. What if nothing changes in the underlying percentages? How bad does it look? So that's what we're going to start with to create a baseline. You'll see in the Excel that is broken into these 3 sections. 2A are the actuals. That's the easy part. We just input the numbers, and that's been done for you. Step 2B are assumptions, and this has been done for you already in the Excel also, is taking the 2016, but since this is a no change scenario, we just replicate that across. The third is the forecast. Got to make you do some work. So 2C is something you're going to do as your next Excel exercise. So go into Excel and you'll see the following. You'll see the 2016 actuals there, and we see the computation of the actuals for 2016 of 90%, 10, 40, etc. And those are just copied across for 2017 to 2020. And then the assumptions we're giving you. The assumptions will be 10, 8, 5, and 5 as the percentage growth rates for the next 4 years. So those are already given to you. So your job is to forecast on the right side those key metrics for 2017 to 2020. Hopefully it's not too difficult, but it's good exercise for you to get your hands on the keyboard.